And Brad Keselowski's lead now 2.1 seconds over 18-year-old Ryan Truex. And Newman saying, wait a minute, I got to get that lap back if I can.
Yeah, I was looking at the lap times, you know, and obviously Keselowski's laying down some really fast ones, but so was Ryan Newman. After he made that pit stop, looked like his car had kind of come back to life.
Let's try some more three-wide action for a moment there. That's Nemechek in the 87, the 66 of Stephen Wallace. He's in 20th position. And then right behind Stephen is Mike Bliss. Looking a little bit further back in the field, Danica Patrick, after getting up to 29th, has dropped back to 31st. Talked about staying on the lead lap in the pre-race show, and right now she's 34 seconds behind the race leader. There is the race leader, so she's going to have to pick it up a little bit, or it could be lap down city here pretty soon for Danica. There's your top 5 here at the Carfax 250 after 18 of 125 green flag laps.
Still under green here in Michigan. Reminder that Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals qualifying tonight 11 Eastern ESPN2 from Brainerd, Minnesota. The final Sunday 10 Eastern, also ESPN2. Tomorrow, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Carfax 400 from here in Michigan. Casey Kane is on the pole. Coverage at 1 Eastern ESPN. We start with NASCAR Countdown at noon Eastern on ESPN. Then next weekend, the Nationwide Series moves on to Thunder Valley. Friday, 7 Eastern ESPN for action from Bristol Motor Speedway. That's what's upcoming on the ESPN family of networks. Brad Keselowski, the only leader of the race so far, started on the pole, has led all 22, now 23 laps complete in this race of 125. He has lapped up to the 32nd place car. That is Danica Patrick, who has become the first car 1 lap down. Mike, Danica and all the other drivers learning a lot of lessons about this new car and this long green run.
It's kind of learn as you go, Alan. As you pointed out, this is the first time she's ever been in this car. Of course, this weekend, of course, everybody else, they've only been in this car twice, so they don't have that much of an advantage. You know, Alan, I spoke with her crew chief, Tony Uri, before the race, and I got to tell you, they weren't all that optimistic. He described the car on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best. He said it was about a 4. He anticipated this car would react a lot more like what the Cup car has been like, and that just hasn't been the case. It took them by surprise, and Danica's been complaining that the car's been extremely loose so far.
Those active hands on the steering wheel, never a good sign. Michael, thank you much. Kyle Busch about to come up and put Danica a lap down to him as he goes off into the corner. Now, a long green flag run here at the beginning of the race, and we talked about just before the start of the race how 15, 20 laps in, I think it was Brad Keselowski, our in-race reporter, was talking about how they were going to really find out what was going on with the cars after we got 15, 20 laps in. Well, they're 24 laps in. What are they finding out?
Well, they're finding out a lot right now. It looks like Keselowski's car's balanced real well. He's happy with it. But you go back to a guy like Kevin Harvick, who we all expected to be really fast. He's struggling. Looks like a real loose car to me. And a lot of guys are really looking for this first caution flag, in my opinion, to get down pit road and make some adjustments, because this is the first time, Brad, they've had real racing conditions with this car at this track.
Yeah, it looks like, Rusty, after about 20 laps, all the goodies worn off of those tires, and these cars are all becoming a real handful. I know the guys really want to get down pit road and get some Goodyear Eagles on these race cars so they can get them tightened back up a little bit.
Watch the splitter as we look back at Brendan Gaughan's car.
Wow,
here.
that thing is grinding the ground. Look at that. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, you can tell the car is just way too far down on the left front, or else the left rear needs to be lifted up to push that right front corner down. If he's got a loose condition, he'll probably adjust that left rear corner, but that is not right.
So what they're finding out, Marty, DJ, and Andy, is they'd like to see a caution flag to make a pit stop.
Well, you're absolutely right, Alan, because this is the first time in the last 10 races here that the first caution has not come out in the first 20 laps, and we're completing lap number 27 here shortly. So yeah, I think these guys, this totally threw the game plan out a little bit, but we have had this race go caution-free twice in the history.
There's probably a lot of cars hoping and drivers hoping it's not going to go caution-free because they want to adjust on them a little bit. Whoops,
whoa!
Looks like left rear just went down on Jeremy Clement's car there.
And he saves it from going into the wall and pulls it down below the line and is going to be heading for pit road. So a good save for Jeremy Clements. While he pulls in, let's also update you. Morgan Shepherd is now off track, and the others that are out, Brian Keselowski, Derek Cope, Josh Wise, Danny Eflin, Kevin LePage, and Willie Allen. And Jeremy was 29th when he had that tire issue. Trevor Bayne, we talked about the two of the three youngest guns in the top 8 that had qualified. Trevor goes around Colin Brown, and that is 7th and 8th position. Let's go back, and this was right in front of Brad Keselowski, our race leader, and nice job.
We got a good view of that.
Yeah, he sure did, and that's not an easy thing to do. You have a tire go down, entering the corner and through the center there. You're generally going to hit something or spin out. Jeremy did a fantastic job.
And we can tell you they gave him new Dr. Feelgoods, and he is back out on track. Let's get an update from our race leader, Dave Burns.
And when a tire goes down like Clemens did, it throws up little pieces of debris. And right before this race, crew chief Paul Wolf was on the front end of this car making what is a legal adjustment. He moved some tape from the upper opening of that car down. He told me about 1/8 of an inch. He said, I'm a little worried that there's going to be some debris collecting on this today. We really don't know. I want to give it as much room as possible for error. The good news is that the leader of the race has reported his car handles great. Let's go to Tim Brewer in the tech garage. And Tim, the front ends of these cars can be really sensitive, and it relates to both handling and temperature on those motors.
Dave, you're exactly right. Folks, as those tires wear out, these particles of rubber, they stuff themselves right across the face of this. It gives you more downforce, but it also increases the water temperature because you want the airflow to go into the radiator and cool just as much of the bottom of the radiator as it does the top. So you might have to come in on a pit stop after learning more about these cars and remove more tape up in this area, keeping all that trash. It's fine down here, but you still have to have the nose open to get adequate airflow to the engine for cooling. Guys?
While you were talking, we were watching this battle on the right side of the screen. That's Reed Sorensen moving out in front. Now we've got another one with Trevor Bayne and Kyle Busch going side by side. That is for 6th on the racetrack.
Yeah, Trevor Bayne's one that looks like his car. Andy was talking about what's it going to do after a while. Going to go to the tight or loose side. Whichever side he started out, his car is doing very well after they've got about 30 laps on the tires.
Yeah, it's definitely coming to him for Trevor Bayne, but it's going away from Kyle Busch. You can see just kind of steadily fading back, and it's got to be that splitter rubbing the racetrack that's causing the most problems. It's going to be hard to fix that on a pit stop, too.
You know, something that everybody was talking about, and you brought it up, Andy, the great equalizer. We see these Gibbs cars where normally we're talking about them being out front, battling each other for the lead. They're back in struggling right now with the handling. You can see Danica on pit road.
Mike? Awfully loose, guys. They're going to make some significant chassis adjustments, track bar and wedge. 4 tires in Sunoco race fuel, but they're really trying to tighten that car up. An awful handful for Danica Patrick as she's been struggling in the early stages of this one. They're away.
And that'll end up putting her 2 laps down as the green laps continue to fly by. You see Joey Logano now up on the high side, and you mentioned the Gibbs cars. Logano's running in 9th right now, ahead of Colin Brown. Kyle Busch is in 7th. And there is your top 5 here at the Carfax 250 after 31 consecutive green flag laps. And for Brad Keselowski, can he pick up win number 4 of the year right here at his home track? Green flag pit stops taking place. 2nd place, Ryan Truex. Doc?
A little bit overheating for Ryan Truex. They had to get some tape off the front. They also had a lot of rubber buildup. You heard Tim Brewer talking about how the rubber built up. They were showing some temperature in both the oil and water. Air pressure change. He was sliding a nose. What a great effort for the 18-year-old and only his 2nd ever start in this series.
But we have completed 36 of the 125 scheduled laps, all under green flag conditions. Leading all those laps is that man right there, last year's race winner, Brad Keselowski. Jason Leffler has now inherited and actually took 2nd place. And now we can tell you that Trevor Bayne is on pit road as well. Here he comes, Dave.
Marty, he worked his way up to the 6th position from that 8th place starting spot. At the beginning of the run, he said that his car was tight, wanted to push toward that outside wall. At the end of the run, he said we couldn't be much more balanced than it is right now. So crew chief Jerry Baxter going to give him just a slight air pressure adjustment, try to make it better at the start of the run. Mike?
And Brian Scott had been complaining early in this run that the car was a little bit aero-tight. They're going to try to free him up with air pressure. No significant chassis adjustment on the 11 car as they swing around to 11 and finish their pit stop, Dave.
Leader Brad Keselowski on pit road. All during this run, a little free in and off of the corner, tight in the center of the corner. So they will make a 4-tire change, and they will make a slight air pressure adjustment for Keselowski.
You saw the 18 of Kyle Busch also getting 4 fresh tires. He's pitted at pit in. Here's pit out. Keselowski easily gets back out in front. And there you see the damage on the right side of the 12 after Allgaier has brushed the wall. Dave?
Justin's car during this run, very tight.